guest joining us live on this broadcast where we talk in detail about Mission Vande Bharat. The repatriation process, remember, has already kick-started with registrations, overwhelming registrations in place, but we will also talk about the roadmap, the future roadmap that is in place, the challenges, and what are the further phases that we are looking at. And Pradeep Singh Kharola joins us on the show tonight. Thank you very much, Mr. Kharola, sir, for joining us on this broadcast on a national broadcaster. For the viewers who are watching this show, sir, especially because this is also viewed across the globe, if you could just quickly give us an overview. The countries that are included in phase 1, we've just had a very detailed presentation on that. What about the phase 2, and what is the kind of plan that is in place, because the implementation of this is going to be extremely crucial? So can you hear us?
Hello, yes, I can hear.
Yes, sir. Are we audible, sir? Pradeep Singh Kharola.
Okay, namaskar and
yes, sir.
yes, please. So, namaskar and thank you for giving me this chance to participate in this program. As you just mentioned, that Mission Vande Bharat is a unique operation because of its magnitude and complexity, and I would say that it is unprecedented. We have had several evacuations in the past, but never have we had such a big challenge before us. First of all, it's unique in the sense that it involves close cooperation and coordination between several ministries of the Government of India.
Right.
To start with, it is the Ministry of External Affairs playing the lead role. We have the Ministry of Home Affairs, which provides the guidelines. We have the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, which provides the protocols for health and safety. We have the Defense Ministry, which is providing service in the form of Indian Navy, and we also have the Civil Aviation Ministry, which is also playing a small role in organizing the transportation. So earlier we used to have evacuations, and we have had evacuations, but all these evacuations were from a single country. This time the biggest challenge is that the evacuation is from all over the world, from a large number of countries. The second challenge is that not only do we evacuate people and bring them to India, but once we reach India, these people are being examined, their health is being examined by the state governments, and the state governments are playing a very active role in them taking all the preventive health-related measures, including quarantining of these people. And once again, it's the first time that we are evacuating both by the air route as well as the water route. It is the Air India and the Indian Navy both working together to bring all these stranded citizens of India who are in distress in different parts of the world.
Right. And having said that, the features that make this operation codenamed Vande Bharat one of the most unique, because you talked about challenges, and when we look at the numbers, the expanse of it, I mean, it seems that with every phase, it's only going to get bigger, sir, isn't it?
Of course, now the first phase has started, and in the first phase, which spans over 1 week, the plan has been made to evacuate about 15,000 people by launching about 64 flights and few ships of Indian Navy. The second phase, in the second week would be much bigger. So as we are progressing, we are also getting experience, and we are able to mount larger operations, and the second phase operation, the second week, will be roughly double the size of what has happened in the first week.
Okay, and just to simplify the process, and for those viewers who are watching us, like I just mentioned, this show also is aired across the globe. And, what is the process in place, the simplest process in place? We know that the Indians there in other countries have been advised to be in touch with the Indian consulate there, but there is a lot of anxiety and some also amount of confusion, let's face it, sir, how to really go about the whole registration process, and is it going to be on priority basis? Are students going to be on the top priority list, etc.?
Okay. Yes. a very elaborate process has been laid down by the Ministry of External Affairs. All our missions abroad are involved in this, and that is the starting point. All the missions in the respective countries have notified about the requests which all the stranded Indians have to file, and all this is done electronically, and a database is prepared by all the missions abroad. This database then comes to the Ministry of External Affairs, and then in consultation with Air India, an operational plan is drawn whereby it is decided that how many flights would be taken up, when, from which destination, and coming to which destination in India.
And so once they are, back home safe and sound in their respective states, what is the next logical procedure? And if you could also tell us the other ministries and the respective verticals in those ministries that your ministry is coordinating, because the real process begins when they arrive their respective states back home.
Yes, the real and the difficult portion really begins once they land in India.
Yes.
As soon as they land in India, they have to go a regular health checkup being conducted by the respective state governments, and it is here the role of state governments becomes extremely important. After the health checkup, all these passengers who have arrived in India are subjected to almost a compulsory quarantine for a period of 14 days. Now this is being done on the advice of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare to ensure that these passengers are safe, and not only these passengers are safe, whenever they come to India and mix with other people, the other people also become safe once these people undergo a quarantine. And as you said that different ministries have different role. It is the Ministry of External Affairs which is preparing the database, it is generating the demand, and then it coordinates with the Ministry of Civil Aviation to draw the operational plan with Air India. We have the Ministry of Home Affairs which is giving the policy guidelines in this entire operation. We have the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare which is preparing the standard operating protocols for health related activities and for health related safety measures. Then we also have the Ministry of Defense and especially the Indian Navy, which is joining hands with Air India to evacuate people from different parts of the world and bringing them back to India.
And what about, sir, a quick overview of phase 2 as well, the countries and the kind of the countries that we are looking at phase 2 and maybe the number of flights. Is it going to be more than what we have in phase 1?
Yes, I think the phase 2 is still in discussion with the ministry, between the Ministry of External Affairs and Air India. There would be some new countries which will be added. Now all this is decided in a dynamic basis based upon the demand which has been registered by our missions in those countries. And as I said that phase 2, that is the second week, is going to be a much bigger operation, and more or less it will be twice the size of what we have been doing in the phase 1.
And in a situations when those maybe due to some unforeseen reasons missed this bus or this phase 1 registration process for whatever reason, the countries that we are looking at in phase 1, will they be given next chance, the opportunity? Are we repeating some of these countries in next phase?
Yes, of course. If we look at the numbers of people who have registered at our missions, definitely there are going to be more phases. And how it is being planned is that first of all, our missions are trying to put the most distressed people on the flights. Priority is being given to them. Now these may be pregnant ladies, these may be elderly citizens, or these may be people with some health difficulties, or students facing financial difficulties. So in the order of priority, the missions are deciding as to which people should board the first flight, and all the missions are fully prepared to ensure that all the distressed people will get evacuated. It's only a question of time and planning.
So having said that, the size and scale of this mission Vande Bharat is what Mr. Kharola makes this one of the robust repatriation plan that we've had. It's not that we've not had such evacuation missions carried out by our forces and also Air India, but this is going to be a very, very long drawn process.
Well, it depends on the numbers, and if we look at the numbers, yes, it will be a drawn process, a long drawn process, and as we go into the second phase or third phase, we'll also be increasing the magnitude of operation, and we will try to plan in such a way that we should be able to evacuate all our citizens at the earliest.
So we're getting a lot of queries also, sir, as we speak about the priority list. You know, you talked about how in the first phase a certain type of passengers are accorded priority, but at the end of the day, one should be patient. Those who want to come back home, if not in this phase, in the next phase, they will be brought back safely. A bit more elaboration on that, the priorities, the priority passengers.
Well, yes, see, the missions, our missions abroad are generating a list, and the moment they come to know that a flight is coming, the Air India informs them of the number of seats available in that aircraft. And once this is done, the missions prepare the passenger manifest. Now, this passenger manifest is prepared in such a way that the most distressed person gets the first priority. As I said, that these may be pregnant ladies, or these may be elderly citizens, or these may be people who have health related problems, or these may be people who are in real financial distress. So based upon these circumstances, the missions prepare the passenger manifest depending upon the hardship and the need which each passenger is facing.
Okay, and your message, especially for the students' fraternity, sir, most of the queries are coming from students themselves.
Well, generally we are getting queries in the sense that they want to get evacuated at the earliest. So our request to all the passengers would be that we have enough capacity, and it's a question of time only before we are able to evacuate each and every citizen who's from India and who is stranded abroad.
Okay, sir, if you could just give us a little bit more clarity on this entire registration process, if there are any, the registration process, the documentation that is in place, how should one go about it?
Well, it's a very simple process. It's on the website of the respective mission. One has to just open the website and just upload certain details which have been asked by the missions. These are basically the details of them, what type of what category of people they are. They're elderly people or having some hardships. All these details are captured, and once these details have been captured, the details of passport and all are captured, and their contact numbers, their addresses are captured, and once this is done, and as the flights arrive, this list is handed over to Air India, and then Air India gets in touch with all these people whose names have been included in the manifest, and they are requested to come forward and get their tickets, and then the Air India informs them of the exact timings of the flight, and the passengers can accordingly board the flights.
Are we going to add more? You mentioned earlier that some of these countries will be maybe repeated in the next, naturally will be repeated in the next phase, but you're going to add more countries to the list in the next phase?
Yes, of course, because we have just started the process, and we have covered a very few countries in the initial phases. We have covered the countries which where our citizens were in most distress, and as we go on to the second and the third phase, we will be expanding it to other countries wherever we have the Indians stranded who are facing difficulty and hardship.
Pradeep Singh Kharola, Secretary Civil Aviation, before we leave you, one last message on the behalf of your ministry. It's a humongous exercise that is put in place by your ministry and the other ministries that are working in tandem with your ministry. And this is going to be, like you just mentioned, a very long drawn battle, but at the end of the day, all those who want to come back home will be brought back home safely.
Absolutely, that would be an assurance from our side, but at the same time, we should not forget that it's a large team of officials who are working day and night to get all our Indians back safe. Or let's not forget about the work our missions are doing, the officers there, the immigration officers, the airport officers, and last but not the least, our real frontline warriors, the pilots and the cabin crew. These cabin crew who are not only rendering service to the passengers inside the aircraft, but they are also ensuring at a great risk that all these passengers travel in a very, very safe environment.
Yes, that's extremely important, and as we say, many thanks to you. Once again, wishing you, your ministry, your entire team, and as you rightly pointed out, the real corona warriors, the frontline warriors of the ministry is concerned in this mission, which only gets bigger by the time Operation Vande Bharat. Thank you so much, sir, for talking to Doordarshan, an exclusive conversation on this primetime show tonight. Thank you very much. Well, let's move on and talk about the other big story of the day. Investigations, as we